What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Nina Payne. Welcome to another episode of All Things Behind the Scenes with me, Nina Payne. I hope you've been enjoying our other episodes. Look, I'm super excited about today because we have a special episode of All Things Behind the Scenes. We normally talk about events and entrepreneurship, and today is no different. But we're going to get to something really, really special, and it's called relationships, right? And so, how is it that you own a small business and you have a relationship? How do you manage that? Also, how is it that you own a small business and you're married? How do you manage that and have a family? And in our case, and what I want to share with you today is how to be married when both of your spouses or both of us are entrepreneurs. Now, I am not in the habit of sharing a lot of my personal information, but I get so many questions about marriage and owning a business and navigating and balance and family and legacy that I thought it'd be a good idea for us to answer some questions on air and talk about our experience with being married and owning businesses. And so I have a very, 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 very special guest. None other than my hubba my life partner. Everybody, please welcome my husband, Mr. David Coleman.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for
What's
having
up,
me.
D Money?
Hi.
What was that? I'm super excited you're here. Welcome to the show. Your first time. What you think?
It's nice.
You know what? Sarcasm, one on one. This one right here. So I thought we would talk about something really quick, and I think people ask us about this a lot, and it's our names. And so I'm Nina Payne, and you're David Coleman. And can you talk a little bit about why or what's going on with our names and how you feel about me being Nina Payne and you being David Coleman?
um, Actually, you're Nina Coleman to me, and to the business world. You're Nina Payne. So when we first talked about getting married and changing the name, you asked me how I felt about it, and I told you it really didn't bother me. Because I think that it gives us a benefit. A lot of times we're in the room and folks don't realize that we're married. So what happens is when it does finally come out, the reactions are hilarious to see that people are shocked to find out that we are married and to see that we've been working together in a long time and they just had no idea. So it
Well, that
works.
is not exactly true. So I'm going to go back a little bit because when I first told you that I was going to keep my name Nina Payne, you had a bit of a problem with it when I very, very, very first told you. And
Okay.
you didn't understand what that meant or whatever. And then we started working together and you realized that people respond to me as Nina Payne. And
I don't remember that.
oh,
I don't remember that.
we forget, but you're a traditionalist in that way. You wanted me to take your name.
I mean, definitely you have my name. Like I said, if somebody calls you on the street and they holler Nina Coleman, you're gonna turn around and look. So I
I
mean,
would.
it's just a natural thing. But in the business world, you're known as Nina Payne. So business and personal has been separated.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. I would respond as Nina Coleman. I have people who call me Nina Coleman all the time, even though it's not on necessarily paper. We've decided in our particular way that we navigate. I've had a business for several years before I met Mr. Coleman. And so it just was important for me to continue with that business name because it was already branded, if you will. So I appreciate you not giving me a whole lot of flack for that.
All right.
So look, we're gonna get into some questions, and we have the help of our producer, Dejanay Plummer, the one and only, doing all the live things behind the scenes. So we got some questions for you. So we're gonna get started. So Dejanay, what you got for us?
So first off, how did you all meet?
You want to tell that story, Mr. Coleman?
Yeah, I tell it all the time. I was actually living in Atlanta at the time, and I was driving limos. And before I had met Nina, about 3 months beforehand, I had met a guy by the name of Will Burnett. I had got a call saying that they wanted me to pick up a rock band from Athens, Georgia, and drive them down to Atlanta. And it was a 5:30 a.m. pickup. So I got there early, of course. Saw Will, and it was kind of funny because I never saw an all black rock band. So when I put him in the car and started driving him back, had conversations with Will, I realized that actually they weren't a rock band. They were the group Kim. They were singing with Kim. And
Hmm.
I
Wrong info.
Willie giving me his telephone number, and it was one of those situations where you want to stay in contact with somebody and you didn't. couple months had passed, and then I got a call saying, "Hey, there's another gig coming up, New Year's Eve. Shaka Khan, Frankie Beverly Mays, and this group, Kim. Do you want to take the job?" So I told the guy, "Yeah, I drove them before, and it'd be easy, and it was a way for me to kind of reconnect with Will, give me a reason to contact him." So I contacted Will, said, "Hey, it's David. I'll be your driver again. I'll see you in a day or two." He said, "No problem." And then when I went to the airport to actually pick them up, Will wasn't there. Nina actually showed up, and I was like, "Hey, where's Will?" And she's like, Will won't be here today. My name is Nina Payne. You'll be taking instructions from me." Real stiff handshake, real firm. So that's pretty much that's how we met.
It is how we met. And, so stepping back a bit, so, my background is entertainment management. And so I was managing at that time as a road manager for the artist Kim. And the reason for the stiff handshake is I had to like, warn off the folks trying to get into the camp and those trying to get next to the folks. And so it was I had to keep everything ultra professional. And so that's why you got the stiff handshake. But he was cute. I looked at him a little bit, but business, business, business first all the time. And then that weekend, I was managing Christmas weekend, New Year's Eve weekend, and the artist decided he was going to allow everyone to bring a special guest down that was in the band. That was 26 people, got to bring a special guest, and all that had to be managed. And so we ended up Dave was our driver for the weekend, and we hung out, and he did a really good job of just being professional and staying on top of things. And I always like to navigate the people who take care of business. And he was one of those. I need to get to the airport. I need to get to the hotel. I need to drop this VIP off over here. I need to do this. I need to do that. And he was Johnny on the spot. And so I think work ethic wise, we really connected early on because I think we had similar kind of like it's about the business. Let's get it done. Don't you agree?
Yeah, still is.
Yeah.
So, and then, like I said, I mean, I was driving limos as a side hustle. I was down there creating products and brands, and I figured that driving limos would be a good place to pitch. So I kind of used that to kind of, connect and network with different folks. And actually, it worked. I found a wife.
I mean, a few years later, and we ended up started working together with Kim as him as the merchandise manager, and me as his boss because I managed all the things on the road. So he had to listen to everything I told him to do, and we were like oil and water. And we argued and fussed and fought and cussed and all the things for a minute there because he's hard headed. You know what I mean? And, you had to, and you're not about to just, So
Whatever. I
look,
get the job done.
I had to break him into the road business, and so he did actually a really really good job. And actually, after I got off the road, he stayed on the road and worked with a bunch of artists after I ended my entertainment journey.
Yeah.
And so I know I've been in business 23 years this year. With foundation management. Let everybody know how long you've owned a business because you've had several.
So I've had several. I had my first business at 14, Jack of all services. Me and my friend James Harris.
That was the name of the company.
Yeah, we
Jack of all services.
my my dad had medical centers at senior citizen high rise buildings, and he paid us $25 a room to clean up. So we had like about 12 of them.
Yeah,
So we'd catch the bus.
but you get it honestly. Your dad was an
Oh yeah, I'm a
entrepreneur.
second generation entrepreneur. So that was how I started off. As far as business wise, paperwork wise, that was my first registered business. But True Color, the business that I'm pretty much known for now, screen printing, graphic design, apparel merchandising. I've had that for 29 years. I started it in '94, my senior year in college at Southern University.
That's pretty dope. I say my mom was a real estate agent, so that was her own business, but I didn't really see it modeled in the way that you saw it, right? Go get the deal pays for the home and the thing, and everything was focused on that deal. There was no 9 to 5 when you grew up, not with your dad, right?
Nah, I don't. I say my whole life, I've heard him talk about having jobs when I was younger, but I've never seen him like go punch a clock or anything for anybody. It's always been money raised off of some type of deal. The majority of the money I've seen him make has been over real estate deals. He's a real estate developer, so he's built some condos and stuff like that. So I'm also have a background in real estate, licensed real estate agent since 2007.
So you see why I was attracted to him. So, and I've always wanted to own my own company since I was little. My dad was a Ford executive, so he spent, with a lot of adults here in the city of Detroit, at the big three, if you will. He trained a bunch of executive managers to do what they do. And so I saw both sides. I saw him model the lifelong corporate ladder. And I saw my mom kind of, she was in banking and then she got out of banking and started a real estate company. And I saw that. And so I had a little bit of both worlds. And so we both had, had our toe into that where you pretty much jumped in full. Did you ever have a real job? Not a real job. Sorry. Don't mean to offend anybody.
Yeah.
Did you ever have 9 to
No,
5?
I mean, yeah, when I first graduated from Southern in '94, I just started the t-shirt business and it wasn't generating any revenue. And I moved down to New Orleans. And actually I got a job working at Bryan and Jupiter Law Firm. And at the time it was the largest black law firm in the deep south. So I worked there for I think 11 months. And while I was working there, I was building my business up. It was like a $5 an hour job, but I was super plugged because we were doing all the work for the city of New Orleans, the mayor's office, Southern University. So I was using those connections and networks to just build my business. And that's actually how I got into Bally's Casino. You know, Lorenzo Cretin was a good friend of ours.
Shout out Lorenzo.
Yeah, he was actually the vice president of Bally's Riverboat Casino. I met him, pitched him, and he kind of put me on as far as with that. So I would be sneaking off a $5 an hour job, picking up 10,000, $13,000 checks. And I thought I got to a point, I was like, maybe it's time for you to quit and move on so that you don't mess up your name. So that's when I decided to just, I gave it up and I actually quit.
So that was your only 9 to 5? Was that 11 months?
It was about 11 months. And I mean, over the years, it's been a couple of times where I've had to like dip in and dip out just to make things work. Um, what else? I sold cars. Yeah, I knew.
A used car
No, no,
salesman.
new.
Oh,
I
okay.
sold new cars at team when I first moved to
I remember that.
Atlanta. I sold new cars for about 6 months. It was the worst job I ever had in my life, but it helped hone my skill sets as
Yeah.
far as being a salesperson. I mean, it really helped me, with my sales skills. So typically, when I would take a job or a position or something like that, it was usually an underlying reason for me doing it. Just like the limos, I needed a couple extra dollars, but it really was so I could pitch because I got a college degree, so I could always go get a regular job, but that was never my intentions.
Right. I hear you. I know, Deja, you have your questions lined up, and we just went off on the rails. What's next?
You're fine. You're fine. Good conversation. So how do you all balance working and or running a company and marriage? What's your work life balance like?
Mm.
Is it balanced?
I've always had this theory about the whole pressure of work life balance, right? Because work life balance is whatever it is at the time that it is, right? And so there might be times where, we're spending a lot of time together and we're fixing up the house and we're, doing all the things because our business is slowed down. We're able to do more with the family or more with each other or more with the homes and stuff that we have. And then there's times where, look, we got to get it because the business needs, more at this time. And so I think it just depends on what's needed at that time and that we balance together. And so I think that there's a lot of pressure, especially for women, but entrepreneurs in general, to have like this even 50-50. You spend this time on work and then you spend this time on children and you spend this time on your family and it's just never like that. And then whatever gets the attention that needs the attention gets the attention. What do you think?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we live in a household where no work, no eat. So it's understood that we have to go out there and get it, but it allows us to get chance like to spend with our daughters or go on trips and stuff when other folks have to ask for permission to go. We just set our situation up so that we can enjoy those things. So I think that's a real benefit for me. I never wanted to be in a situation where somebody could tell me I couldn't go see my child school at a school play or something like that. I'm gonna do
True.
what I want to do and I'm gonna figure it out. So that's one of the big pushes for me to actually to push to be an entrepreneur, and it works for our household because typically, what the last few years, last month and the year, we leave for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we spend time. Yeah, it depends. So we spend vacation at the end of the year. Generally, that's when both of our businesses are a little slower, and so we've been making that our tradition for the last few years, and that's worked out really well. And then whenever we can in the middle of that, we may take a couple of jump offs. I have learned for myself because my business is growing, and I have a lot of people responsible or that I'm responsible for and clients and all the things that we're managing, a lot of different things at one given time that I need to take, mini vacations or staycations or workcations even throughout the year. So I'll check myself into a hotel or I'll travel someplace and just be able to be and take care of me, take care of the thing. And
You're
so
doing that right now,
I,
actually.
yeah, I'm currently checked into a hotel. And it's just kind of a thing that helps me rejuvenate and not like be so tense where now my tense is on him because I got a lot going on and I haven't taken time for myself. And so that's just a trick that I learned even with my first marriage when I was married to someone who didn't support what I did and who was a lifer 9 to 5er, who didn't understand kind of the building a business, the pressure, and it just we had a really bad marriage. And so I would start to spend time in a hotel, and I learned that I could rejuvenate myself just for a weekend, just some time where I could just focus on me and not have to worry about all the things around us, around me. And so I continued that when I got married the second time, the best time, the last time. And I think what's different about this too is that David allows me to just be me. And me means if I need to go spend some time with me, he gives me, he supports it. He supports it 100%. And I think that is so huge and a total difference between my first and second marriage and having a cheerleader. Not that we talked about this, is a totally different sidebar of the question, but having a cheerleader to help you be able to be your best self and be able to focus on your wellness, so that I can be my best self when I'm with him. I can't do that if I don't get a chance to kind of take care of the temple. I can't be my best self for him. So thank you for supporting me.
For sure.
Why do you do that? Like, why is it important for you to allow me to, you don't give me any flack about checking into a hotel or going on vacation or any of that? And I hear a lot of marriages who have have challenges with trying to take a vacation or do whatever by themselves. Like it becomes a whole big marital issue. Like, what
I
do you have to
mean,
comment about that?
I think back and if I back up and think about it, most of my adult life I lived away from home. So I understand the importance of being by yourself. A lot of times, living in New Orleans, living in Atlanta, living in Houston, Baton Rouge. So to me, there's nothing wrong with being by yourself. And if that's what you need to get yourself together, then you just go do it and make it happen. We don't have any trust issues, so that's the biggest thing is whatever you're doing, I'm not worried about it. As long as you stay safe, that's my biggest concern is just as long as you're safe. The rest of it, I see you when you get back.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too comes from being on the road. Like we were used to, ooh,
Mm.
me. We were used to traveling. So if I'm on tour and he's at home, or if he's on tour, I don't like that was just part of our life. Like it was very normal for him to be gone for
Well, my
30,
last
60
tour
days.
was what 2019 with Kevin Gates. I left October 15th, and I didn't come back home to December the 1st.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
yeah. So that was
And
a
so and for me, like I miss him, but like it's not I don't we don't have any trust issues. Like there's zero trust issues. You're absolutely trust him 100% and vice versa. So like we check in, we don't even check in every day.
you can't. I mean, it's just
So we
if I
check
mean if you
in
out
when we
there,
feel the need to
yeah,
check
if
in.
you out there getting it and you focused and you doing what you're supposed to do, it doesn't allow for it. It's not an unfortunate thing. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
If you out on the road and sometimes you driving, sometimes you selling, then you trying to figure out when you can sleep in the midst of all of that. So yeah, some of the days get by, but for the most part, not too much time goes by without at least sending a text message or just
Yeah. The text messages if
reaching
you
out.
if you need to call me, what I mean, I'm there, or vice versa. When I was on the road and coming home to you, you know, if you haven't done it, you don't know the experience. I'm 22 hours working. And it's constant move and shake and move and shake and move and shake. And it's not a lot of downtime to sit and have a phone call. It's not like that. And so I think you being out there with me, you saw and you understood kind of how that momentum goes a lot of times. And so I think that's helpful, right? That we kind of understood the
Yeah.
the
And
game.
then when you do get a chance to sit down, a lot of times you just want to be by yourself.
Yeah.
So that's just so you can, keep your mental together and jump back in it because you only got a little bit of time to do that. So you might better pull an hour or something like that, 15 minutes. So like I said, you
Yeah.
just make it
Or it's
work.
at the end of the day on the tour bus when my curtain closes and it's like, hey.
All
How
right.
you doing? I'm about to go to bed. Good night.
Hmm.
And just so, but I think the thing behind that is being confident in who you are, being secure in who you are. I think there's a reason why we don't necessarily have any issues when it comes to trust or being able to go on vacation, or being away from each other. Understanding that I got him and he's got me, like that is the foundation of what we've built our marriage on. Like there's no challenges there. And I think the difference between my first husband and my second husband is lots of differences, but in the kinds of just being confident. Like David has no short of security. Like he knows who he is, he's confident in who he is. Um and so that makes me be able to just be able to be me. I don't have to dim my light. I don't have to um bring anything down. I can just honor him for who he is, and he could because he honors me for who I am. And I think that is kind of our secret sauce to our relationship. And I think why it works, mutual respect, mutual confidence in what we do and how we do it. And so yeah, that also helps.
It's not one. I don't know, Deja. To go back to your question, it's not one simple answer. I don't
No,
think it's
it
a.
isn't.
It's like it's a combination of things that make it work.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So we'll be just talking,
uh,
girl. Go
It's
ahead.
all
What's the
right.
next question for the people?
How do you define the roles in your relationship? Who does what?
I run everything. No, I mean, for me, it's like it helps because Nina's parents were together until her dad passed, so she understands the seeing, how a household was ran, as opposed to a lot of folks who had come from single households. They didn't get a chance to see the role of their father and the role of their mother. So she does a great job of doing that, and then we just figure out how to make it work. Because at the end of the day, is either me or her. We don't. Our kids, they grown now, so they don't live in the house. So it's either she gonna pick it up or I'm gonna pick it up. Either she put it on the floor, or I put it on the floor. There's only two people who actually did it. So at the end of the day,
No
it's
more blaming the kiddo.
yeah, and then like cooking. Like I naturally cook, so for years I would cook.
Mhm.
Um, I cooked for the kids. I cooked for everybody. Just recently, when Alex moved out and kind of went off to school, that was the last one to come out of the house. We started eating out, so we eat out pretty much every night.
We
The
do.
rule is if you
But
go to
we
a
eat good.
restaurant,
We
yeah,
don't eat
no,
junk.
yeah, no, we eat very well. The rule is if you stop to get something, you just get something for the other person. So, and then some.
It's an unspoken rule. Well, that's not something we like. This is our rule.
No,
Like it's just
it was
something that
just
we
like
do.
that you got to get something because there's no food in the house, so you're not gonna come home and just sit down and put your plate on the table and just start eating your stuff, just looking at the other person. So you try to grab something for the other person. And sometimes we'll buy two sets of meals. We'll buy a meal for right then, and we'll buy a meal for later on. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, so if I
And we try. We'll go grocery shopping, and some cooking will happen every once in a while, but not lately. The last
yeah,
couple months we tried.
yeah, so you
I
just
do a lot of frozen like vegetables, and I like to be able to have something available that I can just pop in the freezer and steam or
yeah,
something,
yeah,
or
so
just be able to go in and grab salad or whatever. But what one of the things that attracted me about you is that you do have some traditional values about yourself, and so when you're talking about the household and stuff like that, um,
I take out the garbage. You don't touch the garbage unless I'm on tour.
let's get it straight. I can, but I don't have to, right? And so yeah, and sometimes I forget when he on tour, but yeah, so understand that I did all of that before, so it's not like I can't do it. It's not like I know how to mow the lawn, I know how to change oil. There's all things I know how to do because I had a daddy, right? But what I think what works for us is that the traditional values that you uphold are similar to what I grew up in my home.
I got it from my grandparents, honestly. I mean, that's where I saw my grandfather take care of the house. My grandfather fixed something, but grandfathers, if something broke, they would be the ones that would fix it. So just the regular things that you just you naturally do. Cut the grass. I take care of outside.
He
So
does. He takes care of outside and some of the
so
inside too.
yeah. So it's just, I mean, if you don't
And we
want
don't
your,
have any real traditional values. He washes his own clothes. I wash my own clothes. We don't generally intersect those.
I
Um,
don't want my stuff bleached or faded or
Whatever.
anything. So if
You
you
get
want,
the vacuum and get the spiders out the basement.
sometimes.
You kill the bug. I don't mind doing any of that, but I think it's helpful to have somebody who is willing to do that stuff, so I don't have to. And so, and then, right, dishes,
Yeah.
it depends. We
Yeah.
don't really like if they're in the sink. You know what it is really? Who's ever tired of it the most will end up fixing it and changing it and moving it. I do the bed linens though. I'll
Yeah.
change
I
the
really
bed
don't make the
linens and
bed.
do
That's
and
not a
clean all
thing
the
for me.
laundry and fold towels and all that type of stuff. And that wasn't anything we discussed. It's just kind of how it worked out. You did want to take care of all the outside stuff. That was you got your garage and your little man cave sort of thing happening out there that we had to clean up. But other than that, we don't have a lot of traditional roles. Whatever needs to happen, we just figured out how to make it happen. And we don't really argue about stuff like that. Like, nope, that's it. That's how about roles. It's not even a source of contention in our house.
Nice. Nice.
You vacuum too.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
clean. I'm pretty clean. I'm pretty clean.
You do like to leave stuff around the house
Yeah,
that
but
I have to pick up after you.
I mean that's part of the game. I mean, now
What
what I
what
will
game are
say,
we playing?
well, what I will say is one thing that I do that you pick up is like I'll eat and I will walk away from my plate and
He
like
does.
you'll pick that up.
He likes when I pick up his plate
That's
after he
just I
eats.
don't. That's the thing. I will like it. Sometimes I get
Like
up.
he gets a kick out of it.
So,
And
but
I don't mind doing it. Like those are the small, like little things. I remember when our daughter first found out, she saw it with her own eyes, and he would leave his plate, and it'd be a mess, and I would come after her and clean it and stuff. And she was like, "What? What's wrong with him? How come he can't pick up his own?" I was like, "It's not like that. Like it's not that he can't. It's that it's something that we just do, and I know he enjoys. So I enjoy making him happy in that regard. It's a little small thing. Takes me 2 seconds to pick up his plate." So that's a domestic thing that people probably would never think that I would do, but I do. All right, Dage.
Next
Next
question.
question. Next question.
Nice. So I seen that you mentioned the daughters.
Mhm.
So some may or may not know that you're a blended family. What advice would you give on being a great blended family?
oh wow, don't blend the family until you know it's gonna work.
Yeah, you have to know. I think part of us, especially as we got together a little older, right? He had a daughter, I had a daughter. They're a part of the relationship. I don't care how you can't have a relationship without including your family, at least the ones that are in your house. And it was important for me to know that my daughter was okay with the relationship. You know what I mean? Was okay with making sure that we have light.
Like to stay
What's
on.
going on in the studio? Okay, so we'll keep going. So yeah, it was okay. It was important for me to make sure that Alex and him had a relationship outside of me. It was important for me to make sure that I had conversations with her about how she felt about him being in our family, all of that type of stuff. And so, and we were really good friends before anything happened. So like he was around already for a while before we actually moved forward with something more serious. So she got a chance to get to know him and coming out of being in the relationship with her dad, she has grown to find him as an amazing stepfather and she calls him dad. So what about on your side?
Let's see. Deja lived in New Orleans, so she would come up for the summer. But for me, it was just important that she was received and she felt loved. So had a conversation with her, like, like you said, with Alex, seeing how she felt, seeing how how she was treated. Did she feel comfortable with the situation? Because for me that was a deal breaker. If it didn't work for her or for some reason I felt like she wasn't comfortable, then I wouldn't have moved forward with it. So her and Nina, they have a good relationship. You
Yeah.
know, they talk. She doesn't talk a lot, but they figure out how
Mhm.
to talk, or they'll try to surprise me with something. They'll get together and come up with an idea
Or she
every
needs
now and
money.
then. Yeah, yeah. She calls everybody for money, but yeah,
Both of them. We
right.
are ATM machines these days.
Yeah,
So
so
our
they don't discriminate. We get calls. I get random. It don't matter. Sometime at the same time, sometime weeks apart. But both of them, they don't have any problems asking for money.
they're adulting.
And
They're
then
trying to adult. So
as their parents and position that we have, though, that's our responsibility to help them as long as they're trying. So
yeah, I think that that's the key. It's just communication and making sure that all parties are on board. I think the other extension to that is the other families. So his family, mom, sister, dad, stepmom, brother, like all of those folks too are involved. You know what I mean? They may not have as much say so as the children, but it's important that David met my family and they all get along. You know what I mean? Like they mutual respect for one another. They don't have to love each other, but mutual respect for one another. And one of the things that I noticed when I was dating Dave is how well he treated his mom. I think it is a surefire way of being able to tell the kindness of someone, right? And how they treat their mom. And will will most likely be how they treat you. So Dave loves his family and parents and super family guy. I'm a super family guy. Where our family gets
Girl.
together, girl. Yeah, I'm super family girl. And our family gets together a lot, so it's important for him to be able to blend into that. And we like to party and hang out all night. He's not a hang out party person all night, but he'll dip in and come around for a bit and then dip out. That's kind of how our roles are because our family likes to stay up
Yeah,
real late.
our families are like totally different.
They are
Your family gets
very different.
together and they interact with my family. They don't. Our immediate family gets together randomly. So it's different. And I get a chance to experience, both sides of it. Yeah, and I come hang out for a little while, say hi to everybody, and spend a little
Mhm.
time. And then, yeah, then I'll dip.
He dips, which is okay.
Mhm.
Did we answer the question? Blended
Yes.
family?
Yes.
Okay, what you got next?
So now that we're talking about family, how important is the support of family and friends in business and in your relationship?
Friends, whatever. If I depended on my friends to help me out, I'd be homeless. I'm not even gonna hold you
Oh,
up.
man.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're friends. That's what they are. And in business, a lot of time folks have the misconception of you're supposed to depend on your family and friends to make it work. And I believe opposite. You need to go out there and build a relationship with folks who are not your family and friends. And for me, I can only speak personally for myself, seems like those create new friendships because for some strange reason, a lot of times folks who you don't know will support you more than folks that you do know for whatever their reason is. And then the new friendship is forged just based off of that business relationship. Whereas, the people that you grew up with, situations put you together. It might be that you guys went to high school together. So the relationship is based off of you going to school every day, not the fact that you're business minded and they maybe they're not. They could care less about a business. Maybe they, 9 to 5 or SSI or they could be on anything, but that's not where that relationship lies. So I really don't connect my business and my family together like that. But what I will say is growing up in a household of entrepreneurs, like I've got a bunch of brothers, and all of my brothers are involved in real estate in some way or form. So we're able to feed off of each other, at any given time. We can pass deals or things back and forth to each other. Me
Mhm.
being the oldest, everybody comes to me for a little direction, and vice versa. I can still get direction and guidance from them. So that's how I look at the family side, side of it. But I really don't depend on my family to support the business per se. They support me just because they love me as a family member.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I think the support is in the person, not necessarily, and that then supports the business. When I started this business 23 years ago in entertainment management, um, I definitely tried to get my family and friends involved in the business, and sometimes that would work out, and sometimes it wouldn't. And I just think, I appreciate the time that I had that I still have with my friends and family members who come to be a part of what I'm doing. Like, but I don't expect it. Like it's not like, you're my family, you're supposed to be there. That's not how that works. And
Mm.
so it's more like if my family wants to get involved with what I'm doing, I'm welcoming them.
Right.
And so in turn, I've employed lots of family and I've employed
Your
lots of my
family, my
friends.
family. Right.
Right, your family, and we've been able to make it work, but he's right in that I don't depend on that. That's not something that is like, I'm gonna make sure my family and friends, help me with this business. It's not like that. Like, not like that. But what's great about it and what I'm thankful to God for is that I'm able to employ. And so one of the things with the staffing company that I'm able to do is that, able to, give people a living wage in return for service.
Give 'em an
And so it's not
opportunity.
just them coming and, lending a hand for free. And it's not like in the beginning, because there were times where I need everybody, hey, I need all hands on deck. And if my friends and family able to come, great. But there are many times where they weren't able to be there. And I wasn't able to pay people and I still had to rally up the troops. And so now I'm just thankful we're at a point now where if they come, they know it's not a favor from me. I'm actually employing you to come do this work.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's a challenge. Some folks think that you're doing them a favor. And, I've seen folks that needed help at times. And I was like, hey, you can come over here and work for us, to help get you back on your feet. And sometimes they would look at it as it was, a favor, like they're doing a favor for us to come help. And
Yeah.
I've had to, I mean, in the right way, but kind of get them straight. Like, bro, you like, no, this isn't what this is. You're not doing us no favor. We're actually paying you to do the task.
Yeah.
So we need you to do it, And usually when we have that conversation, it's a tough conversation, but if the folks understand it, they jump to it and they kind of get it together.
Yeah, I would say to entrepreneurs, I know a lot of times they say start with your friends and family. I don't think it's bad advice. I would say don't put a whole lot of stake in it. If it happens, great, and they come on board and they can help you do your thing, fantastic. But I would say be careful about, you know, just putting stake in that and relying on that and then getting your feelings hurt. So the expectation is, you're my family, you're my friends, you're supposed to be the first one to buy my book or first one to come and buy my service or help me sell t-shirts or whatever it is. And oftentimes that's not the case. And so just making sure you have people around you that are going to support you, whether they're friends, your families, or people that you met in relationship in other areas, just make sure you have people around you that are going to support you and your dream so that they're coming on and doing a service for exchange as opposed to the expectation of family being there. What you got next stage? That
All
was a good
right.
question.
That was great. Great question. Do you both share the same business values, and do you run your companies the same?
No. No, I mean, some values, yes, because as people, me and her as a couple, we have just basic values that we stand on as far as like integrity and things like that, honesty. But no, we don't run our companies the same. Everything for her, it's funny because when we first started dating and became friends, everything with her has a process and a procedure. And I had to get used to that. I mean, take your pants off, you fold them up, you put the bill, everything. I'm being, facetious, but everything does have a process and a procedure with her. Where with me, I understand the importance of it, but just the way I'm wired, I don't really move like that as much as she does. So yeah, I'm more freestyle. I'm more of I got a lot of hustle in me, so I'm a natural born hustler, and I had to take the hustle and convert it over because there's a difference between being a hustler and a business person. The hustle to get you there, but in order to grow, you have to step into that entrepreneur business side of it. Where I think for Nina, she's more like a structured. She has hustle in her, but she's more structured. So whatever she's going to go at, it needs to make sense out the gate. Where I throw the shit up against the wall and see if it sticks. Or she's like, no, it's got to be glue on that wall because glue will make it stick. It's not just going to stick because you threw it up on the wall, David. So
Yeah, he's right about that. I am definitely more structured. He's definitely more throw it up against the wall, more high, like visionary. He stays in that space, and I am a step one, step two, step three type of person. And so we often um, clash when it comes to how to do a thing, how to do a task, how to change this, run this deal, get this thing to happen, negotiate this money. Like we clash in some ways, but he does value my opinion. So and I give it and then I back up and let him do whatever it is he does to run his company. He's been doing it long enough to know how he runs it and I do it the way and same thing. So if I have a thing, I'd be like, this is not working this way, I need to change it or I need to, make some decisions and I run it by him. He may give me some ideas on how to kind of manage that or whatever. And then he backs up too. So unless I, really need more information. So you think that's how we kind of volley back and forth?
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, I learned a lot as far as structure wise, so it helps to listen. But sometimes you just, you got to run with your gut, and you just got to, go out there and make it happen.
I mean, I do run with my gut too.
Oh no, for sure. It's got to be
Intuition is
structured.
everything.
It's yeah.
But I'm slow to make decisions. I'm faster now than I've ever been. So, like, if you read a lot of the books, Rich Man Poor Man, whatever, quick to make decisions. Like once you get into your rhythm, you have to be quick to make the decision because time kills deals. That's one thing he used to talk about all the time. Time killing deals. And if you wait and sit too long, that deal kind of dissipates. And so I'm quicker now, but I don't I like minimum risk. And so that's why I think my business is, has lasted for this long and I'm just not finding the growth that I should have had probably years ago, but I just couldn't figure that out then. So slow risk, but you know, great reward.
Mhm.
All right, what's
Next
next?
question.
Yes.
How do you avoid competing with one another, and in what ways do you try to support your spouse's business?
There is no competition.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't think we
I don't.
compete.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not really into competing, especially with her. We're on the same team. First of all, um, say that question again. What was the other part?
How do you avoid competing with one another, and in what way do you try to support your spouse's business?
As far as supporting her, her business is my business. The way I look at it is because if she wins, I win. She loses, I lose. By us being a team, a lot of times when we are out there working, it's funny when people do know we're married or people come to us and they'll be like, "I couldn't work with my husband. I don't know how you do it," or "Yeah, how could y'all be ready to kill him or kill her?"
Hmm.
And I mean, there's a respect there, a level of respect when I'm on a foundation management gig. It's her show. She's the boss. So I'd say probably 98% of the time what she says goes. Then there's
Hmm.
2% of the
That's that
time when
2% though. He
well, yeah, yeah,
insubordinate.
I might, freestyle, or it's just, I mean, whatever choice I make, there was always going to be for the betterment of her. So even if I go off, off task, off grid, or something like that, I'm still doing it thinking that it's for the best of her. Not I'm doing it just because I want to do it. So at the end of the day, it's just having that person's best interest at heart. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Overall.
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's no competition. We either win
Yeah.
together, or we lose together.
We don't have a competition at all. Now that I'm thinking about it, I do remember feeling that way in my first marriage, but that's not the case. And goes back to confidence and being and being secure in who you are. Like you don't, you know, we're a team. I mean, yeah, we have separate businesses and all of that, but we're a team. He wins, I win, he wins. The same thing if I'm on his team helping out True Color in some kind of way. He's bringing me on to do a particular task or to help him with a particular thing. I do that thing and I back the hell up. I'm not the boss on that page. I don't try to be the boss. I will insert different things at different times because I see certain things, but I know that it's best for me to pull back and allow him to do what he does. And so that's how we support each other. So if he needs me, I'm there and vice versa.
Next question.
Next question.
What advice could you give to other couples who are new to marriage and entrepreneurship?
Mm,
Is it combined? They're married and they're entrepreneurs, or
Correct. Yes. They're married
yes.
and they're
both
entrepreneurs.
of them?
Yes.
Like us.
It's not for the faint of heart. This isn't like, I mean, I just laugh because people like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. Me and my wife are gonna do this. This shit is real. And I mean, it's not for the faint of heart. So if you're not committed, or like I said, I was built for this. She was built for this. So it's not something that you just like wake up on Thursday and be like, oh, it's just this magical thing. We've had good days and bad days. We've had some hard days. Most of the time, people just want to show you the good things. They don't want to talk about the struggles, or the struggles they had to go to get the good days. So I always tell folks when I'm talking to usually guys about getting married, I say just pick somebody that has your best interest at heart. Because if they've got your best interest at heart, then whatever happens, they'll do it trying to help you. They'll make mistakes, but it won't be anything that's malicious. So it's the same thing with the business. I mean, if you're with somebody, and I've experienced this, growing up families, I saw where family members tried to start a business, but they didn't have the support of their other side, and that's challenging. I mean, if you're trying to figure it out, and the main person that you depending on to help you is not helping you, it's like, damn, how do you make it happen? And then when you do make it happen, I feel like that could create a form of resentment, because if
Yeah.
if if I've done all of this work and I made it, and now you want to reap all the benefits, but I sat there and you watched you not help me make it. At some point in time, that's not going to work out. And I experienced that in one of my first relationships, where it was actually said to me, I want it all, but I don't want to sacrifice. And I was like, well, shit, how's this going to work? Because outside of giving up my integrity, I'll lay it on the line. I'm not giving you that, but the long hours, the sacrifice, I'll do it. So you mean to tell me you want me to go out there and do all of that and just hand it over to you just because? It doesn't really work like that. So yeah, just make sure that person has your best interest at heart, and you guys can figure it out.
Yeah. I think, marriage by itself without entrepreneurship is hard. Marriage is hard. And if you've listened to the show, you've heard me say that you either if you're in a relationship, you're either fighting to keep it good, right? I'm sorry. It's either work or you're fighting. You're working to maintain it, or you're fighting to get it back to fighting to working. I'm saying that again. You're gonna have to work to maintain the relationship. That's all the little things you do, and reminders, and love notes, and being romantic, going out to dinner, vacuuming the floor. Like, you have to maintain a relationship. That's called work. And if it dips off at any given point, you got to fight to get it back to the maintenance level. So if you're not willing to do any of those things, first of all, don't get married.
Right.
Don't get married. It's not for everybody, and that's okay. Don't get married. Don't get married just for the sake of having a wedding. Don't get married just because you love the thought of being in love, because love is not what people are letting you to believe that it is. And so it's a decision. I make a choice every single day to love this man and to work and maintain and commit and to keep it where it is. The maintenance part, right? I got to work at that, you know. And a lot of people are not willing to make that choice. And if it gets too hard, you're ready to leave. You ready to, ugh, you know. And so that alone in itself is rough. And so if you can figure out how to have a healthy marriage, I think it will help if you're trying to then have a small business, or you're trying to be an entrepreneur, both of you. If you happen to come together and you guys are already entrepreneurs, then you're going to have to do a lot of work to maintain healthy relationship, right? And communication about all the things, about the money, about how you do your business, about coming together, all of that stuff. And so I think a big piece, and we have to learn, and we're still learning, is how to have great communication, and always being there to be willing to talk about whatever it is, however hard it might be. And so for me, being more emotional person than Dave is very cut and dry. People think that I'm black and white. He is like super black and white. And you got to have tough skin to be married to somebody who is just very, factual. And I'm like that as well. But I have to get stuff off my chest. So if something that I am dealing with, or something I didn't like that he said, or even something in business that I think that he should do something different, I got to talk about that. And we got to talk about it. And oftentimes, you know, I got to pick the right time to talk. And so there's a lot of nuances, but I think communication is going to be key. And then making sure you have a healthy foundation for marriage before you try to bring in, what is even more difficult to do is the hours and dedication that it takes to be able to run a small business. That's my take on that.
That's your take. Nice. All right. Last question. What is your goal for your family and your business? And what legacy would you like to leave behind?
Mm. Overall, as a unit, we always say we want to leave just something there for our girls to have the option
Yeah.
to, for them to pick and choose what they want to do in life, where they're not like a slave to the system. They have options. Overall, the business is, it's kind of funny because Deja, I brought her up in fashion, so she naturally gravitated towards fashion. She's worked in the industry from Kate Spade to Louis Vuitton to Guess to, well, she's worked for some other places.
She's a model.
Yeah, she's modeling now. The Ford agency picked her up, so I mean, she's doing Essence Festival now. So she was raised in it purposely, and she doesn't realize how much she knows. So for me, it's just easy to hand something over to her. Whereas just like with Alex, Alex was raised having to go to work with us, doing events.
Mhm.
She doesn't even realize what she knows because it's just natural for both of them. Where people ask us to teach them, and we get paid a lot of money to do the things we do. We've instilled these same things in our girls for free. So yeah, so I guess the goal and the legacy is just to leave them with something, and then not just them. The other people that we touch are outside of our children,
Yeah.
because most people know, like, I'm director trying as mentor, so I do a lot of mentoring with kids, and I always say I'm supposed to take care of my children. So when that day comes and the judgment day, he looks at me and says, "You took care of your kids, yeah, you were supposed to, but what other legacies? Who else did you help along the way?" So I know both of us, it's big, and I know Nina years ago she said she wanted to be impactful with helping different folks, and that's when she started, the was it FMLM? Say it for me. Foundation Management Services.
Mhm.
where she does event staffing, group staffing. And I mean, at any given time, she could have 100 people working for her. So those are 100 different people who, in some way or form, she's helping them financially. And I mean, you work with us. The work environment is a lot different. When you show up, everybody hugs everybody. How many places that you go and you work, and as soon as you see everybody, if you're a part of the crew, like everybody hugs everybody. It's not a real thing. So I mean, I think as
It's
far as
not?
I mean, for you it is. That's your world. But I mean, everywhere else you go, Deja, how many people you go? You saying you hugging outside of our group?
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen. This is it.
So yes, I mean it's awesome. I mean because it's a good energy, and you see everybody looking out for each other, and I think that's a piece of legacy that's being left. You're touching people's lives in a positive way.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. You said a lot of it. I think for our children, it's about options and assets. So being able to leave them um, options and assets. So good insurance policies and real estate and giving them a leg up where and hopefully they'll do the same thing for their children, right? So that continues through generations. Like that's the type of impact that we talk about making. And so we acquired some properties. We are, moving in that direction. And so insurance policies are set, investments are set. We're moving in that direction. So when it's time for us to get to the pearly gates, as Mr. Coleman said, we'll be okay with what we leave behind and for our children. And then, he's right. He said, I started this company years ago because I wanted to make impact. I wanted to, you know, I thought I could manage people and bring something to the table that I wasn't getting when I was in corporate America. And I just knew that I could run a company a little bit better than that. And I think it's more than just you do a service, I pay you. You do a service, I pay you. It's got to be deeper than that. And so as I built the company, I built it with that kind of idea in mind that, if I can pour into people, right? If I can pour into you and help you grow and I can help you, make an impact in your life, and then you'll be able to then exchange and do that for somebody else. And then that person will do that for someone else. And so that's part of the legacy from a company perspective. Just, from being who I am, I really want in my little world to impact people so they impact others positively. I think that's pretty much what that looks like. And so yeah, so we're doing that. And I'm pretty excited about um the growth of the company and the team that we have, and that team has impacted other team members, and it's beautiful to see and watch that things start to happen, the spokes on the wheels and the wheels start to go around and round. And I've been trying to get it to go around and around for some time, and now those things are happening, and I couldn't ask for anything else. It's a blessing. And so we're going to continue to do that and hopefully continue to make impact, personal impact, business impact, educational impact, entrepreneurship impact in people's lives so that they can then do the same.
Yeah, as she was talking to, I keep hearing this thing when we first started dating and we're friends, everything, and she talked about being evenly yoked. And when she first, I was like, "What the hell is an evenly yoked?" I'm thinking of an egg. Yeah, I mean,
He
every
didn't
time
know
I
the
hear it, I
word. He didn't
always,
know the word, y'all. He didn't know the word.
I just think of an egg every time I hear it now. But I mean, it is an importance to making sure that you guys have some of the same values. Nobody's going to be the same. So you don't look for somebody to be exactly who you are. That's not what this is. But y'all have to stand for something in the household. These are our core principles that our house stands on. And then after that, you can vary a little bit, but for your, if you've got a strong foundation, it can withstand anything. If you've got a weak foundation, then eventually when it hits some type of turmoil or something, it's going to get rocked and it's going to crumble. So the goal is if, like you said, with married couples or folks that are thinking about trying it, is focus on the foundation, and time will tell the story. If you just keep doing what you're supposed to do, the days will pass. So, I don't say feel pressure to marry somebody, because they're asking, or because you're sharing houses, or because it's cheaper, or because somebody's pregnant. Those aren't the reasons why you should marry somebody. You should marry somebody because you've decided that I think we can make a better situation together. So, take those same principles and apply it to being an entrepreneur, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, in closing, I think the reason why I named the company Foundation Managed was exactly what you just said. It's building, foundations that last a lifetime, and that was with whoever I touched, right? So when I was in entertainment management, my goal was to create foundations as I tried to build their career and to help them build legacy and impact, right? That they could stand on, right? And the same thing with my team now and my relationship with my husband and my children is I'm always trying to create spaces where they can make their foundation even more strong. And so I think that was right on the head, and that we talk about marriage, having something to build on is a key. But first, your life, you yourself have to have something that you stand on. What do you believe in? What you don't believe in? What are your deal breakers? What are you trying to accomplish in life? Like I'm a accomplishing life goal setting type of person. So it's important to kind of have something to stand on. And I think that itself is kind of a message for life, message for our marriage, message for our businesses, and message for anything that we do. Build strong foundations. Okay, well, Desjanae's giving me the cue. That's all the questions, right? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of All Things Behind the Scenes. I really had a good time. Thank you for being here, Mr. Coleman.
Hmm.
That's all you got to say to the people.
See you next time.
He's right.
You
We'll see
might
you.
not see me, but I'm always close. I'm somewhere close.
He is. So we will see you next time on another episode of All Things Behind the Scenes. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of All Things Behind the Scenes podcast, where we discuss all things events and entrepreneurship. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of each new episode. You can also follow us on All Things BTS Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. We welcome all comments and suggestions. So let us know what you think. We love hearing from you. So until next time, remember that the only thing that you can guarantee about an event and life is that it will change. Be blessed.